Thank you. Thank you, Dallas. Indeed, a wild world out there. The title for the lesson today is Walking on the Edge of Life. Okay, we've had the global theme for a whole month. Do you remember what it is?
Open at the top.
Love it. Open at the top. And the book of the month is by Howard Thurman, The Inward Journey. And we just got this in this week, so it is in the bookstore. And I'll be talking a little bit about the book. And I wanted to make sure to recognize Johan, who is with the kids. Did a great job last week talking about living on the inner edge. Today I'm bridging living on the outer edge. So we talk about I am a center for spiritual living. Sounds beautiful and lovely, doesn't it? Like a romantic dream. Until that spiritual living asks something of us. It's easy for most people to agree with peace. It's easy to value compassion. And it's easy to confirm and affirm that love is all there is. But what does it look like to live my truth when it feels risky or uncomfortable? That is the edge. The edge is where our values become visible from the inside out. The edge is where the insight or the aha means taking action. The edge is where faith leaves the safety of theory, and then we have to put it into practice. We have to live it. Dang. So you can believe in science of mind and the philosophy we teach about here, but do you live and practice the science of mind? Being open at the top means that we do stay open and teachable and permeable to spirit, expandable, because life is infinite and there are lots of possibilities and potential. So even when expansion stretches us to take responsibility and act. Does any of that relate to today's environment? So for Howard Thurman, the author, he talked about and reminded us that there is only one stream in life, capital L, one life moving through all of us. I like to use the microcosm and the macrocosm because my mind can get behind the fact that there are cells in this body living one life, as Kathy. And even though there are many cells, they are all living this one life. And now we expand that thought to all of us in the room, all the events that are happening, all the people, all the expressions, all of that is one life, expressing through the divine. The divine energy that is behind all people, all things, all events. Because nothing can happen outside of God or universal source. It is one life that is happening. Howard Thurman also says something very essential. We can experience insight, but that insight must be achieved in deed. What does that mean? It means that spiritual realization, the aha, is not the finish line. An aha is just the beginning of embodiment. It's the achievement of living it that we are all striving to be. When we act from aligning our inner and our action becomes a demonstration of that, that is a simple sacrament. Now, for me, while Howard talks about sacrament, my first thought, having been raised in Catholicism, is sacrament? What do you mean by that? Okay, so while many of us may know that word sacrament, to think beyond the Christian philosophy and into a wider understanding of what is a sacrament, in a broader inner spiritual sense, a sacrament is a sacred, symbolic action that becomes a visible sign of invisible grace. So a sacrament is something physical that reveals something spiritual, like the monks walking in peace. I'll come back to that. So there's many traditions, many traditions that have sacramental acts. And many of them might involve the elements of Mother Earth, like water or fire. Many may have consecrated offerings. There's rites of passages. But the essence is this: an ordinary action becomes sacred because it carries spiritual significance. I'll say that again. An ordinary action becomes sacred because it carries spiritual significance. It links the physical world with the spiritual world, the divine. It marks a moment as holy. It consecrates life itself. So when Thurman says our deeds become a sacrament, he's saying, when your inner awakening becomes outer action, your life becomes a ritual. Your compassion becomes a thoughtful, conscious ceremony. Your courage becomes the consecration. Your presence becomes the sacred sign. Not because you're performing some religious act, but because Spirit is expressing through you. Spirit is expressing through you. Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, says, think of the whole world as your friend. That might be easy to do, but then you must also be a friend of the whole world. Maybe a little more challenging in wild times, wild worlds. Now, Ernest Holmes says this not just as sentimental advice, rather a spiritual discipline. Ernest Holmes also reminds us that we tend to resist change even when change is good. When I was with my daughter and son-in-law and my new granddaughter and grandpup this last week, helping them move, they had looked at a place that they felt like it was perfect. And they went and saw it, and they put in the application, and you know how much work that takes. Fill out the application, find your pay stubs. Yeah. And they put in the application, and the landlord had already accepted another application. And they were so disappointed. And they kept talking about how the place that they had applied to was so perfect for them. And at one point, my daughter says, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. And I said, all you got to say is this, something like this, or something better. I loved it when we were moving my daughter into their new place, and she said, I'm not sad that I didn't get that last place. Now, that's the story of the Dow farmer, right? You never know what's coming, this or something better. Sometimes we resist being what we authentically really are. Maybe because somebody has told us that that's not the way to be or to act or to do. We're not going to know what's right. You already know what's right within you. Spirit expresses through you. Now, it takes patience to get clear on that. What's right for me and what I know to be my truth, we frequently want quick answers because a lot of the world's just going quicker and quicker. I want it now. I want it now. But with patience, the process unfolds, sharing wisdom that leads us forward on what our next step or action is. And once we get clear about our own truth, then it takes courage to act on it. So it's a process, and it's an opening first to know what our truth is. The second is to act on it. So for some of us, that means setting boundaries. And if you never set boundaries before, is it uncomfortable? That's living on life's edge. Maybe you have to ask for something you need with the fear of being rejected. Can that be uncomfortable? You know, glass half full, glass half empty. Both of that is true. But what would you focus on? Half full. Both are true, but what do you put your focus on? It takes courage to hold goodwill when cynicism would be easier. When you find a disrespectful president and you just want to throw up your hands. But it takes courage to hold goodwill, to stay focused on what you know is good. Being able to hold goodwill is sacramental living. So we had an affirmation earlier. Repeat it with me. I live my truth, even beyond my comfort zone. So walking on the edge can be scary, right? Doing something for the first time. We know neuroscience-wise, when we do something new the first time, it's healthy for our brain. And when we talk about being open at the top, doing something that scares our heart, but when we know our truth, taking the courage to step out on that ledge. Does faith require trust? And it's difficult to build trust when you sometimes are looking at the outside world and not trusting what's going on. It's a call to connect with yourself, to know where your inner edge is, to know your truth, to reflect on your thoughts and what you want to put out into the world. Get ready for the YouTube. So the lesson title and concepts came long before the monks started walking. But the monks walk for peace. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. Okay. If you don't, I invite you to get to know. Right now, for just a few more days, Buddhist monks are walking from Texas to Washington, D.C. How many miles? 2,000. Over 2,300 miles. They're walking through the cold, through their fatigue, the blisters on their feet, through uncertainty based on the weather, based on where they're getting lunch, where they're staying the next day. But they're not debating or arguing peace. They are embodying it. Their walk is not a symbolic performance. It is a sacramental action. Their inner conviction that peace matters has become visible inside out. Every step is a visible sign of their invisible grace. That's what makes it sacramental. Not because walking is holy in and of itself, but because their action links the physical to the spiritual, to the divine. They are consecrating the ground with intention. 2,300 miles worth. Do you think it's comfortable for them? Not if you've been watching. It would be easier to meditate about peace. It would be easier to speak about peace. It would, instead of living it in their bodies. But that is a perfect example of walking on the edge of life. And of course, that was their truth. That's what came to them. That is how the divine is expressing through them. You know they do their spiritual practice in so many ways when you really observe them. Most of us are not being asked to walk 2,300 miles. Maybe that is not ours to do. But we are being asked to walk somewhere in each of our own lives, and I don't mean physically. Perhaps that call is to have a difficult conversation. Perhaps that call is to set a boundary with someone you've never set a boundary with before. Perhaps it's to forgive an old resentment, to let that go. Perhaps it's to have compassion for those who are so disrespectful to others. A sacrament doesn't have to be formal. It can be a boundary spoken with love, a forgiveness offered without fanfare, a truth spoken calmly when silence would feel more comfortable and safer. A truth spoken calmly when silence would be safer, when inner truth becomes an outward act. When truth becomes an outward act, life becomes consecrated. That is what it means to walk the edge of life. Now, the Monks Walk for Peace, there are 2 songs on done by someone specifically for them. And I was torn between which one to show, but if I showed both of them, it'd take half the time of the lesson. So I will be putting into our weekly e-blast the link to both of the videos. But as part of our meditation together, I want to show this video. And in case you don't know, on February 11th, which is Wednesday, at 1:30 Pacific time, I posted this on our Facebook page. It will be on the Walk for Peace page, a live stream of a global meditation for sending loving kindness to all beings. An opportunity for spiritual living, joining with one another in our intention for understanding and for expressing loving kindness and peace. So I hope you enjoy this video.
There are moments when people don't cry from pain. They cry because they finally see love again. When peace appears, They came without a message to sell. No shouting voice, no warning bell. Just quiet steps on open ground. A moving prayer without a sound. And people stopped along the way, from tired lives and heavy days. Something ancient stirred inside, and tears fell freely side by side. While for peace we never forget, these are tears of joy and unity, tears we will never forget. When peace appears without an agenda, and love asks nothing yet, no lines to draw, no sides to choose, no fear to protect. Just human hearts remembering what loving kindness meant. One for peace, one for men, love forget. Love forgets, swear forget, love forget. The journey itself, 2,300 miles of trust, from Fort Worth roads to DC's dust. 120 days of grace, step by step a human pace. One meal a day, the road there home. Strangers helping, not alone. Anyone welcome, none turned away. Compassion walking, come what may. Love forgets, never forget. These are tears of joy and unity, tears we will never forget. When peace appears without an agenda, and love asks nothing yet, no speech is made, no fist raised high, no anger to defend. Just human hearts remembering how broken worlds can bend. No forget. Beside them walked a quiet soul, a loyal dog named Alokaho. When the road hurts back, then came the night, the sudden sound, a broken moment on the ground. A monk was hurt, the road went still, the body shaken, not the will. No rage erupted, no blame took hold, no hardened hearts, no fists closed. They breathed, they cared, they held the pain, they chose compassion once again. And when the road could carry feet, they rose, returned, and did not retreat. Suffering met with steady grace, the walk continued, same clear pace. What we carry forward, what we carry forward. These are tears of joy and unity, born where love has no conditions. Peace without an enemy, no permission, no position. In divided times, uncertain days, when anger fills the air, a quiet walk becomes a vow that love is still a choice we share. These are tears of joy and unity, tears we will never forget. Not because the road was gentle, but because compassion never left. We didn't just witness a journey. We witnessed who we can still be.
Nothing like music and video to get straight to the heart. Beautiful. And the second video, I highly encourage you to spend some time with yourself and those videos. They're just beautiful. And I look forward to the meditation on Wednesday. So in closing, there comes a moment when we reach the edge of life. We've prayed, we've reflected, we've become aware. We have felt the rhythm of spirit within us by walking that inner edge of life. But when life asks, will you let it move through you? A sacrament, a visible sign of invisible grace. And when you let your compassion interrupt your comfort, when you let truth risk misunderstanding, setting a boundary, when you let your courage step forward, when the invisible becomes visible, the sacred becomes embodied. The divine moves through you into the world. The divine moves through you into the world. You are the vessel of truth. The monk's walk is a sacrament of peace. Your next brave step can be a sacrament of love. The edge you fear may be the doorway through which grace enters the world through you. So this week, ask yourself, where is my next step? Doesn't have to be dramatic, grand. Just one step. Stay open. Let your insight become a deed. Let your life become a sacrament. Namaste.